Hello, mental health clinicians. Here's an interesting question for you. Are your personal and professional environments helping you to succeed, or are they dragging you down? We really think about this, and yet it's so important. If you are living in a household where your partner does not care about or take interest in what you're doing with your life in terms of your profession, this is a problem. If you're dealing with any kind of abuse inside your relationship, that's a problem. If your kids are having issues, they're taking your time and your emotions away from your practice, this is another problem. If the environment in which you work, physically speaking, is in a closed office with poor lighting, this can be really detrimental to your health and well-being. If you have lack of really good supervision to help you deal with those patients that are more challenging, or maybe those patients who bring up issues of your own that might need to be dealt with in a more productive way for you, that can be a problem. If you find yourself in an environment that you do not feel is supportive of you, professionally speaking, these are all issues. And too many people who are in the world of giving care, mental health, physical care, it doesn't matter, really don't give enough attention to this vital aspect of life. I know that I've left several dysfunctional relationships over the years. I also know that I left several really bad mental health positions that I had because my bosses didn't understand what mental health issues, especially for people who are in supported housing programs, need in terms of support. And in too many cases, I had bosses who demeaned the clients, they did not help the clients, and I even put in a report in one of the places, an 8-point report, in terms of 8 different clients that were being abused and or neglected by this guy, the Department of Mental Health in Massachusetts, when I was working there back in the early 90s. Because we need to be able to take responsibility for the responsibilities we took on in terms of helping these patients. If we can't help them, we don't belong there. And if we're not willing to take a stand for what works best for them, we don't belong there. And if it's an impossible situation, we don't belong there. So these considerations need to be assessed and dealt with. Or we can't be present. We can't give the help that these people have employed and rely on us to give them because we're not being taken care of in the environments in which we live and work. It's an impossibility. So what do you do? Well, what I found was it's impossible to actually change anything inside a system that's broken. So I left. Except for one case where I actually went above both of my bosses. I had 2 different directors as I was working with this one client of mine who was a paranoid schizoaffective, and he had blue nails and blue lips, demonstrating that he wasn't getting enough oxygen. And it was actually the prolixin that the court had ordered him to take intramuscularly once a month for his psychotic features that was causing the problem. But nobody who had worked with him before I arrived noticed because I didn't take an interest in him. It was like, hi, Sean. Bye, Sean. That was about the extent of the interactions, which is pretty pathetic if you think about it. A person who was barely functioning when he was in that program. And I realized, thanks to getting him out of the psychiatric care of someone who was burnt out and didn't belong there any longer, to a person who actually was a really excellent psychiatrist. She was a psychiatrist that served in the social program that I started my work in mental health with a year previous. And she left there to get a job closer to her home. And it just so happened it was close to the program that I was working at that time. And then there's a psychologist who he actually had to actually see, and that psychologist helped me understand the metaphors that schizophrenics use in terms of the languaging. Very useful on so many levels, let me tell you. So I was able to help him get out of that program, get into a better program. And 17 years later, I found out he wasn't needing any program at all. He was doing fine, had a roommate, and was functioning really well by his former roommate, who I bumped into in the produce section of a supermarket near the program, well, where the program used to be and where I was living at the time. So miracles can happen. But what I went through to make that happen, no one should have to go through. So I would suggest that you get out of a system that doesn't work and learn how to do tools and techniques that do work, and where you can do what you need to do to help your patients heal and move beyond their mental health problems. Now, in the case of Sean, I couldn't do that because he actually had psychotic features, and hypnotism and NLP wouldn't work in that aspect. And I actually didn't enter the world of hypnotism and neurolinguistic programming until, I don't know, I was working in his program in 2000. No, it was actually, how was I there? 1994. And I didn't get into hypnotism until 2002 and neurolinguistic programming in 2003. So there's a lot of years between the two. And I found that working on my own was a hell of a lot better, and being non-licensed provider was even better. Because to tell you the honest truth, my clients heal and they move beyond the symptoms that brought on their diagnosis in about 85 to 90% of cases. I do my best to screen for people who are within my scope of care, people who are really interested in doing whatever it takes to heal. They're just sick of being sick and sick of being stuck. People who I like and who I can see something within them, even if they're going through a really difficult time. And people who I feel I'll have a good rapport with, because I do let them know before I begin doing any work with them, before I hire them as a client, that there will be times that they will hate my guts, and that's okay. Because they're going to learn how to do the things that they need to do in order to function out in the world with the people in the world. They'll learn how to do that through me. And in the end, they end up loving me because they actually did get rid of the symptoms and were able to move on with their life and create their compelling future in the way that they wanted to, which is more than most conventional mental health practitioners are capable of giving to their clients based on the pathological way that the entire mental health system is framed. It's about managing symptoms. It's not about healing. Two different paradigms. We're about bringing out the magnificence in our clients and helping them understand that they do have magnificence in them, that they do have a reason and purpose to be here, and that they do have the ability to create a meaningful life based on their values and belief systems. Something that's rarely touched on in conventional mental health, at least for my 6 years or so that I was working in it. So if you're interested in learning about hypnotism and neurolinguistic programming and integrating it into your practice, and maybe thinking differently about how you provide your services, I do offer a 2-day VIP program. It's one-on-one, all done online, and I can only do like one a week, probably for 35 weeks out of the year total, because I have to mentor all the folks who go through it, because a 12-month mentorship is, of course, included, so that you can actually learn in real time how to help your patients by applying these tools and techniques in the correct order and in the correct manner to help you replicate the success that I have helped my clients receive. That's why anyone would do a training, right? How to do that. I will have my contact information below so that you can set up a free consult call to see if this is something that you might want to pursue, so that you can fulfill or help me fulfill my mission of getting mental health clinicians trained in how to do this work so they can help so many more patients and create a much healthier income by being able to charge a lot more money by doing programs with them instead of session by session and having to deal with the low reimbursements and the paperwork and everything of the insurance companies. That is what I have for you for today. As always, I thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time. Bye-bye all.